everyone! Welcome back to Gaming with Pain. My name is Kyle, and this is Guild Wars 2. And today I'm going to show you the Heart of Thorns expansion. If you're not familiar with Guild Wars 2, it is developed by ArenaNet and published by NCSoft. And ArenaNet has other games, I guess, that I haven't played very much of, but I guess City of Heroes was one of them that inevitably got lost in, just wasn't popular enough. But this is my thief. He's an Asuran thief. His name is Titus Finkelhorn. And so we're going to get right to the how to get to the new areas in Heart of Thorns. Because when I first got into the game after installing the expansion, I could not find out how I got to the new area. So if you're familiar with the map and the personal story, so we'll go to the personal story first. And in the personal story, you'll see that the Heart of Thorns drop-down menu here is now at present. So if you start this, it will guide you to the Silver Wastes, which is located to the left of Brisbane Wildlands, north of Dry Top, and if you are in Radissoum, it is directly north of Radissoum, slightly northwest of Radissoum. But so that's how you get there, and it will start you right about here, and you will have to go through the storyline, and then eventually it will guide you to this point over here after you've completed said story and guide you into Verdant Brink, which is it's basically the new starting area, and it's got a lot of depth and a lot of cool stuff within. Once you get into the Verdant Brink, you're going to get an awesome frame drop because of all of the distance rendering you're going to have to do. So that's kind of fun to deal with at first, but once you get into the jungle and everything starts to come forth, you'll start to render a lot more frames. So they give you this big, gigantic runway, because one of the coolest things about the new Heart of Thorns expansion, if you didn't already know, is if you see the bat wings on my back, previously any wings in the game were strictly for vanity. But now you get to fly. And you don't fly per se. You glide. And the glider is the first mastery that you will learn in the Mastery system, which is brand new to Heart of Thorns. So if we go back into our interface here, you look at the very bottom of your hero panel, you'll see Masteries. And the first mastery you'll learn is Glider Basics. And that will cost you 1 mastery point, which it will give you right away as soon as you get into the new area. And then you can choose after that what the next mastery you will train. And it's important to understand how the mastery training system works, because if you don't have a mastery selected, all of the experience you gain inside and outside of the new area will not stack. It will not auto select the next trainer or what you choose to train next. So you have to be sure that it's kind of funky because I feel like I've been in battle and then my mastery has completed and I've had to switch to my menu real quick and start training a brand new mastery. And I'm not really into that. But, I'm sure they'll work something out along with that in the future, probably a future patch or something. If you do appreciate the story, I suggest going through more of the going all the way through the first 4, which I think it just guides you pretty much right through the first 4 sections of Heart of Thorns. And then in their footsteps is the next one that I have to complete. But we're not here really to talk about the story. The mastery system is really neat because you get a separate set of masteries for when you're playing inside of... So basically the masteries are divided like this. Basically, you're divided from one... So when you're on this side of the map, in all of this older area over here, you will gain masteries for this area specifically, and then when you're over here, you'll gain your masteries for this area, which is all the new stuff. So you'll get all the new stuff, and you won't have to worry about, whether your masteries are training inside or outside. Masteries for this area only train inside of this area. So that if you've already have your glider, this is a really easy mastery point to snag up right off the bat. You run off that first section over there, and then you come down this way to the mastery point, and it's really easy to get to. And if you've already communed, obviously you can't commune twice. So furthermore, I'm going to try to find a piece of airship cargo, and it looks like there's one down here, funny enough. So in your inventory, when you first start in this area, it will give you a rare item called a packed crowbar. And a packed crowbar is used to pry open airship cargo. Inside the airship cargo is airship parts, ascended crafting mats, and maybe a piece of gear, or even a satchel or a pod or something like a loot cache that you can get. So I've not known what exactly the airship fuel is used for, but the parts themselves can be traded in to the vendor over here in the new area with the training of the mastery. So if you've trained your mastery in Itzel lore, for Itzel language, you can then go back to him, this guy here, spend gold and airship parts in basically together to get special items from this area. So it looks like if you look up here in the right hand corner, there's generally something going on. So if we look at our map with a little bit more detail, what's going on, there's always something like a event going on. And if you aren't familiar with Guild Wars 2, there's always events going on, and they basically are just spontaneous events. I imagine they're on a timer, but for me they're spontaneous. And so once you get to the area where the event is going, you just participate as much as you can, and then you get a medal based on your participation in said event. And you also get experience chests and loot. And loot is... oh man, there's so much loot. And I'll tell you, the new enemies are brutal. Especially the mushroom guys. I've died so much more in this expansion. Or, in this game. I never used to die. Dying didn't used to be a real big thing for me. But now, it certainly is a thing. So what you just saw me use there was the updraft, and that's something you have to master after you get your basic glider down. It is basically the next thing you get after your first glider, and it refills your endurance bar for your glider. I'm trying to figure out how to get out of here. I may not be able to. We'll see if we can get over here to this updraft. And these wings you see here, they are not obtainable from anywhere except for the gem store. So if you wanted the bat wings, they are I think 700 gems in the gem store. So if you go down here, there's a new option. It's glider skins. And if you pre-ordered, you got the Heart of Thorns glider skin, which is pretty sweet. I mean, it's probably the nicest looking glider. There are some other gliders that are pretty. Now, if you do already own the black or white feather wings, you can now use them as a glider. They double as a glider. And then there's the basic glider, which you may think, oh, great, it's like made of newspaper or whatever. But what's cool about the basic glider is if you go back and we go into dyes. Whoops, so if we selected that. So we've selected our basic glider as our glider, and it will change when I glide from basic glider or back glider to basic glider. If you go into, dyes, now you can pick a dye for your glider, and it just adds your own touch to it, right? So, but I do really like my bat my bat glider. So we're going to keep the bat glider on. And try to show you a couple other cool things in the game. So there's Sylvari incidents going on. And if we look at... Oh, just one moment here. Okay. So let's do a little beetle bashing here. Just show you some of the fighting mechanics in the game that have really piqued my interest. I really enjoy the fighting in the game. The melee combat, the range combat. Here's some of the melee combat. Use a dagger and a pistol as a thief, and it's really cool because you can switch between your weapons. Again, if you're not familiar with the game, you can switch between your weapon sets pretty quickly by tapping the tilde key. Now, there's also these. They require a mastery, just like some other things you're going to find in the game. You're going to run up to about everything in the game and try to loot it, try to hatchet it, try to do whatever to it. And you're not going to be able to until you master the ability. There are, however, regular things to harvest. So don't be discouraged. There are things to harvest without having the masteries. Another thing that you might not know about Guild Wars is that it's very community-based. And when I talk about the community-based game, it's something that I thoroughly enjoy about it. It's a game that can be played by just about anyone, and anyone can pick up and play it. And it's free to play, and that does limit you a little bit, but there are guides out there for free to play people, and you'll be able to pretty much play the entire game while free to play. And if you decide you get to the end and you really want to keep going to the Heart of Thorns expansion, you just pay $50 and you get the Heart of Thorns expansion with the base game. They give you both. Some people were pretty upset about that, veteran players. I was initially a little irked by it, but when I really put some thought into it and read some more of the forums and the devs' explanations on why they were giving the base game with the $50 expansion, when we veteran players had to pay $50 for the base game initially, so basically they're getting an extra $50 out of all veteran players. And that's what it seems like on the surface. Now, I feel like it's not fair to discourage people from playing it for any reason other than, if you don't like an MMORPG, that's fine. But if you do, I highly recommend you just check it out and get as far as you can. Find some people that you might want to play it with you. And what you just saw me do there, I'm sorry, I'll pause talking about the crap for a minute. Look at our map here. This little area is a small event that's happening. We're burying eggs. And I don't really like to, I do enjoy helping with the events, but sometimes it takes a little longer to take care of them. So you can participate as little or as much as you want in those events, and you'll still get experience based on that participation. And gold and something called karma, which exists in the game as a form of currency to buy other things, weapons and armor, and, of the like. The other portion of Heart of Thorns that I really like, and it is the day-night cycle that cycles with a canopy above. So if we look up, we see all this wonderful stuff up here, and you wonder, can I get to it? Man, I would really like to go higher and glide down further. Man, that would be so sweet. Well, they delivered on that. And the depth of these maps, if you haven't seen already, is incredible. They have added so many awesome little niches and allowed you to go higher and lower than you ever have before in the game. Have I not gotten this? I wonder. I don't think I have. Let's see. Yeah, I can earn 10 hero points if I don't die. Which, I may die. Holy crap. What the hell just happened? Oh my god. Oh, well, we're getting burned alive. And that's not good. I don't know what's happening. I haven't gotten those hero points yet, so. The wyverns, as you can see, are pretty hard to kill. So we just got owned. And like I had said before, sometimes in Heart of Thorns, you just have to accept the fact that you're going to die. So yeah, I'm really thoroughly enjoying the game. Overall, I think they've done a fantastic job with the expansion. And when you... Oh, and I will do more on this if people want to see more. I'm not doing a comparison video for this because I honestly don't think that there is anything that truly compares to Guild Wars 2 itself. So, you can argue me on that if you want to. I mean, by all means, please argue me on that if you have a contention, because I want to know what you don't like about the game, and I want to know what you do like about, if you play an MMO, what's so good about the MMO that you play? Where do you find a piece of yourself in a game? And I feel like my piece in this game comes from the vanity. The character customization is something that I thoroughly enjoy. And if you didn't see before, the dyes are a really cool way of customizing and personalizing your character based on your tastes. And it shows you all kinds of awesome previews. You can color all your stuff differently if you want to be festive. There are people who have modeled themselves after Star Wars characters and just all kinds of cool stuff. That's been a little bit of Heart of Thorns. That's about as much as I'd like to show you today. Thank you so much for watching Gaming with Pain, and I hope you have a wonderful day and happy gaming. Goodbye.